Hello everyone, welcome to NS Institute, an institute to publish Novel of Success. So this is the second class of this complexometry, and in this class we will learn mainly on something about EDTA. Then we will take care about these the different characteristics of metal EDTA complex. After that we will see some general discussion regarding this complexometric titration, and finally we will look into the complexometric titration curve. So in our last class we have already learned some different properties of these EDTA, and then why EDTA is mostly used as a chelating agent in different complexometric titrations, and then the importance of these EDTA in complexometric titrations. So in this class I would like to ask you, can you just suggest some trivial names of EDTA? Okay, so some trivial names of EDTA are mainly triclone B, chelaton 3, complexone 3, sequestrine, bursine, etc. And these kind of names are actually universally used. Okay, so far so good, and we have already learned these different properties of EDTA, then different tribal names, its uses, and why it is mostly used as a complexometric agent in complexometric titration. So these kind of things we have already learned. So now I want to ask you that instead of EDTA, do you know some other complexometric agents which is generally used? Okay, so there are various complexing agents, and among them I have just highlighted two. That is nitriloacetic acid, that is NTA, and the structure is just shown against it. And next one is a CDTA, or sometimes we name this as DCTA, that is cyclohexane trans 1,2-diamino N prime tetraacetic acid. So these two structures I have already shown in this slide. Now we will learn about the main characteristics of this metal EDTA complex. So far we have already learned that why EDTA is most widely used in this kind of complexometric titration, but now we will mainly look into the main characteristics of this kind of metal EDTA complex. Now first of all, as we know that EDTA is one kind of hexadentate ligand, right? So there multiple ring formation can take place, and hence the complex will be highly stable due to this chelating type of behavior of this EDTA ligand. So as EDTA is one kind of hexadentate ligand, it will form multiple ring formation, right? And these rings will be 5-member, and we know already that these 5-member rings are actually highly stable because they are free from bare strain. Now again, when the metal amine or these metal aqua ions are converted to their EDTA complexes, because of this nature of this EDTA as hexadentate ligand, the number of H2 and NH3 molecule will become free, and thus the entropy increases, and these actually indicates the formation or the stability of this metal EDTA complex, or actually it indicates the formation of these metal EDTA complex. And most of these metal EDTA complexes are actually colorless except the complexes of chromium 3+. So what is the benefit of this colorless metal EDTA complex? So it is highly beneficial when you are going for the titration, because see, when you are getting some color change from colorless to another color, so detection of the endpoint would be very much easier. And again, this complex will form 1:1 type of this EDTA will form 1:1 type of complex, and it is very much beneficial when you are just calculating the quantity of the metal ions through the through this titration value. And most of all, these metal EDTA complex will be formed only in a single step. It is not some multiple step reaction. It is only be formed by just one step. Okay, so now we will discuss some general aspects of this complexometric titration. So basically this complexometric titration is a volumetric estimation of metal ions through the formation of complex with a strong multidentate chelating ligand using suitable metal indicator is called complexometric titration or complexometry. So as we have already known that these complexometric titration is one kind of volumetric estimation of metal ions, because through this titration we are getting the concentration or the quantity of the metal ions present in that solution, but it is happening through the formation of a complex with a suitable multidentate chelating ligand like EDTA, and here one suitable indicator should be present for the detection of the endpoint. And a polydentate ligand is actually very much able to form a very stable complex with a metal ion which is called a chelate, and we have already seen so far that how this EDTA is forming that kind of chelated complex with the metal ions, and therefore this kind of ligand is called the chelating ligand. For example, we have already learned that EDTA can also behave as a chelating ligand. So the titration in that sense is also called or can be named as chelatometric titration, as it is forming a chelate complex, and through that chelate complex the titration is happening. So therefore this titration in that sense can be named as chelatometric titration. And for this feasible chelatometric titration, some conditions should be followed or some conditions should be fulfilled, like the coordination number of the metal ion must be satisfied completely by the chelating ligand to form a stable water soluble complex. If the coordination number of the metal ion will not be satisfied, then we can say that the metal ion or the metal ligand complex will not be a stable one, and therefore it will not be a good condition for the titration. Now the value of the stability constant of the complex should be high enough, otherwise why the complex would be stable or why the complex will be formed? Because of the stability constant value, the complex will be formed, and that would be again a very much important criteria for that complexometric titration. Now the rate of the complex formation reaction should be fast. Why? Because we are going for the titration, right? For a very small within a very small time the complex should be formed, so otherwise the titration value would not be perfect, right? So therefore the rate of the complex formation reaction should be very fast, at least within the titration time. And finally, a suitable indicator must be available to detect the sharp end point of the titration. In absence of one kind of suitable indicator, we cannot detect the titration end point, or we cannot detect the end point of the titration, because we need to know the sharp end point of the titration, and from that only we can come to know the actual concentration of the metal ions present in that solution. So we have already come to know so far that EDTA is most widely used as a complexing agent in this kind of complexometric titration. Hence, EDTA is available in form of its water-soluble disodium salt, which is a hexadentate chelating ligand, and it is very much able to form a 1:1 stable complex with many metal ions, satisfying all the conditions whichever we have already discussed in the last slide. And here it is widely used in the complexometric titrations, and it ionizes in water as H2Y2-, and this kind of thing we have already discussed in our last class. Why it ionizes in water as H2Y2-? Because see, in neutral medium or in aqueous medium, actually it is behaving as dicarboxylic acid. Two of its hydrogen will be acidic in nature in neutral medium, so that's why in water or in aqueous medium it will ionize as H2Y2-, and then it will form a stable 1:1 chelate complex with many metal ions with the release of H+ ions. So the reaction I have already shown here in the slide, that the sodium salt of these EDTA is first ionizes into sodium plus and then H2Y2-, and then this H2Y2- will react with the metal ions to form a stable 1:1 chelate complex with the metal ions with the release of these H+ ions. Now look at the structure of this metal EDTA complex. Now if we will look carefully to the structure of this complex, then you can come to know that in this structure there are several ring formation is taking place, but the main point is that every ring is actually 5-membered, and due to the formation of this 5-membered ring, it will be free from the bear strain, and that's why this metal EDTA complex is very much stable. So now we will learn how the titration curve of this kind of complexometric titration looks like. So in this kind of titration curve, at the left hand side along the y-axis we are taking the negative logarithm of concentration of M plus, or you can name it as Pm, and along the x-axis we are taking volume of some fixed concentration of this EDTA solution. Now, some of the stability constants of different metal EDTA complexes are indicated at the right hand side of the curve, and these equivalence point may be indicated or may be specified by the central point of the steepest region of this curve. It is evident that greater will be the value of the stability constant, hence steeper will be the curve, and therefore the end point would be sharper. This type of titration curve is also comparable to the acid-base titration curves when we are taking pH versus volume of acid base, that is pH is taken along the y-axis and volume of acid or base is taken along the x-axis. Now here metal ion sensitive indicator called this metal indicator is practically used to detect the endpoint of this kind of complexometric titration, whereas in case of acid base titration we are taking some kind of acid base indicator. Now these metal ion indicators are typical organic dyes which are able to form chelates with metal ions reversibly, and they are able to show sudden color change at the equivalence point. So we have already seen that an acid-base titration curve shows the change in pH following the addition of titrant. For example, you can take a base, like sometimes we are taking base as a titrant, and these metal EDTA titration is almost analogous to that kind of acid-base titration. So for a titration with this EDTA shows the change in Pm. Pm means that the negative logarithm of concentration of M plus, where M is the metal ion, as a function of the volume of EDTA. So the curve will be almost similar to that of acid-base titration curve. So here I will try to explain the titration curve or the pattern of this titration curve. See the region 1. In this region actually there is excess of these metal ions left in the solution after the EDTA has been consumed, and the concentration of this free metal ion is equal to the concentration of excess, or you can say that unreacted metal ions. Now look at this region 2. This is exactly the equivalence point, and there is exactly as much EDTA as metal ion in the solution. So this is the equivalence point. There is the central point of the steepest portion. And now move to the region 3. This is after the equivalence point. Now there is excess EDTA, and virtually all the metal ion is in the form of metal EDTA complex, and the concentration of this free EDTA can be equated to the concentration of this excess EDTA after the equivalence point. So thank you for watching this class, and in this class we have already learned some basic concept of this EDTA, and then the main characteristics of this metal EDTA complex, some general aspect of this complexometric titration, and how this titration curve of this complexometric titration looks like. So once again thank you for today's class, and if you have any doubt regarding this class you can directly contact us through the website www.nhst.com, or you can directly drop a mail at nhst@gmail.com, or you can directly call, message or WhatsApp us in the given number. Once again thank you, and see you in the next class.